Thank you for being here today. I am so excited that I have all of you here so that we could share our journey to Portugal, World Youth Day this past year. Please come have a seat, and we'll get started in prayer first, right? All things towards Him. This is great, and you have to forgive us. We're gushing over each other because some of us haven't seen each other since we got back from World Youth Day. So we're all like, yay, you're here. Okay. So let's go ahead and start in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Praise you, God. Praise you, God, for the joy that you have brought to us. Thank you for this opportunity to share that joy with others, to share the opportunity you gave us to come together as church and to honor and praise and glorify you. Praise you, God, for each one of these pilgrims who put energy and effort into getting over there, who suffered, but suffered with joy. And praise you, God, for the families and all those people that supported our group going to World Youth Day. May they be filled with graces beyond measure. May they too know this joy that they helped bring about. In all things, God, we praise and honor and glorify you. And Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. So, first of all, for those who may not know, I'm Laura Wendt. I'm the high school youth minister here at St. Paul. I am so excited to see you all here. I have to say that I asked for this to happen here at our church because it was an amazing, definitely life-changing opportunity. And to have gone and come back and not shared it seems a pity. So much time and energy and work went into going and to taking our young people with us and sharing the journey with them, that if we don't share that, it's like hiding a light under a bushel basket. We can't do that. So some of you are those that are here to just hear and witness to the joy. Some of you are the actual pilgrims that went along. My pity is also this, that many of our young people who did go on this World Youth Day pilgrimage are not here with us because they're either in college in a way, because many of them were young adults who had graduated high school or who were already in college. And so they're either back at college or they're back working up in North Carolina. But for those of us who did go, and by the way, I opened this up to anybody in the diocese who had gone on this pilgrimage, I invite you to come up here with me. Come on. So, one of the things, too, I didn't tell the pilgrims this because mainly it was just offered to me the other day. Yay, another pilgrim, come on over. Is that Felix is here with us. He is going to be taping our witness stories. We're going to do this a little bit podcast style. So he's going to videotape it, and we're going to spread this out a little farther than just our parish, just us, our gathering today. So thank you for being a part of that today. So this is what we're going to do. I didn't count enough chairs. Everybody grab a chair, and let's just put right here. That'll make it easy for Felix to be able to tape us. And so the way I'm going to handle this is I'm going to just lead them through some questions. I had already put out to them what I wanted to ask, which, by the way, where's my phone? And let each one of them speak for themselves. I have a few mics. Hi, good to see you. So what I'll do is I'm going to first hand you guys mics, and we will pass them around. And I'll just sit in the middle. Here, Adrian. I'll sit on the edge and I'll ask questions. Switch with me. Good. So I've already introduced myself. I'm Laura Wendt. I'm from St. Paul's Catholic Church. There were 12 of us that went from this church to Portugal 2023 and visited with Pope Francis and God himself. Yes. So what I would ask each one of you, just to start off with, and Felix, walk me through this too, what would make it easier for you. I'm going to just ask them a question and pass the mic and let them answer it, and then we'll circle back around. So please introduce yourself, tell us what parish you're from, and then give me just one memory that you will never forget from World Youth Day. You guys all thinking? Just one. Yeah, well, I know we could be here for hours, but I know there's a 5:15 or 5:30 Mass, and I don't want us to miss out on the Mass for those that need to go still. So, and I'll share mine first, give you a little moment to think about it. You're going to see a lot of pictures go past us up there. We could sit and tell you what was going on in each one of them, but we just wouldn't have time. I think I have like 2,000 pictures in my album. But the one memory that okay, there's two. You're right, Joe. Two memories that I will never forget. One is receiving the Eucharist with, I think there was more than 1.5 million people there, 2 million people. In that moment, it brought me to thinking, oh my gosh, this is what the multiplying of the loaves and fishes must have been like. To see millions of people going up for the Eucharist, and to know that every one of them got the Eucharist, got to receive Christ. That just blew my mind. I mean, my heart was just swollen. And of course, the other memory is always going to be waking up on Sunday morning after sleeping out in the field all night long. We woke up to Padre Guillerme's boom, 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 boom music. And so we'll play a little bit of that for you. Some of it was playing as you came in the door. It was such a joyful way to awake and to be amongst other Catholics and their joy of just being together. There's so many memories, but I'll just stick with those two for the moment. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sophie.
Sophie.
Hey, I know you guys. Hey, I'm from Resurrection Catholic Church in Riverview. My gosh, there's a lot of memories from that trip. It was a really amazing trip. I think just overall, like meeting people from other countries was really special. Just like seeing their culture like throughout them, like walking down the street and like getting to talk with them. Specifically, I had one encounter with this man from Mexico, and he gave me this, you guys were there, he gave me this like scarf thing, and it had St. Jose Sanchez del Rio on it. And in it were like words in Spanish, and I don't read Spanish, so I had my friends translate for me. And on it was, if you don't know about him, definitely read about him because he's really awesome. But on the little scarf thing, it said like it was never so easy to get to heaven. And it was just like this really powerful moment because he was a martyr and he's really special to me. So that was just a really special moment from our trip. Just meeting this man I've never met before. I'll probably never see him again in my life. So yeah.
Hello, my name is Natalia. I'm a parishioner at Nativity, and the most memorable moment was Eucharistic adoration at the vigil with Pope Francis. Just to be among, like Laura says, like almost 2 million people adoring our Lord, especially in this year of the Eucharistic encounter and the Eucharistic revival, I think was just so beautiful to witness people of all cultures, of all countries, just demonstrating the truth that it is that Jesus is present in the Eucharist and that he comes to encounter us all.
My name is Brendan. I don't currently have a parish. I'm the new Associate Director of Young Adult Ministry for the Diocese. Well, newish. I've been here for about 6 months now. My most memorable moment was after the opening Mass with Pope Francis. I ended up walking around Lisbon with some of the young adults from St. Paul's, and one of them really wanted to go to confession, but we couldn't find any priests. And so he's like, what do we do? And I remember saying, well, let's just pray. And so we said a quick prayer, and we turned around, and there were like all these priests just walking down the street. So he got to go to confession. So it was just a really cool moment that just really stuck out for me. So, yeah.
Thanks, Brendan. Yeah, well, we got this. Hi, my name is Joe. I'm here over at St. Paul. Good to see you all here. Hi! I have several moments, but I guess the one that stuck out in my head just for right now is just experiencing all the youth and all the future of the world, all from different countries, the States, Portugal, Spain, the Baltic countries, all coming together and all being peaceful, all praying together and celebrating Mass together and adoring the Eucharist and hanging out with the Pope, you know what I mean by that. And just being all there in unity and in harmony, and to hopefully realize that could be the future of the world for us, and that got me excited, that got me hopeful, and that was just a cool thing to witness and experience. But that's what stuck out for me. Pass.
What's up, guys? So my name is Adrian Opinion, and I actually am honored to come with Resurrection Catholic Church, but I also serve at Nativity and Christ the King, and I love being able to be joined here at Resurrection at St. Paul. St. Paul. It's like all the dioceses, right? So just like what Laura said, it's so hard. It's like a billion stuff that stuck to my mind when I went there. Just amazing experience all together. But two of the things that I thought of is, first of all, as much as I love Academy of the Holy Names, I was hanging out with them during Fatima, but I had to let them go for a little bit because I had some time for adoration, just being able to have that hour of just Jesus and me talking. And it's amazing. And I was like at one of the holiest places in the entire world, Fatima. So that was one of the best experiences. And then the other one was, I don't know how to tell you what I asked, but I asked a question in my mind. And all of a sudden, as the Pope is coming, I was with a couple of friends, with a friend from Spirit FM and a couple more pilgrims from St. Tim's. And as the Pope is waving at everybody, the one when he came over and looked at me, is like, that, thumbs up. And I was like, oh, so is that a yes, God? I can use that for anything now. So praise God. Thank you for the invitation from St. Paul over here, and God bless.
My name is Angel, and I'm from Resurrection Experience, me and my wife. This was our third World Youth Day.
Your third.
Oh, my third. Yeah, you have to be more tomorrow. Okay. My first was back in 2000 to Israel. And it amazes me to see people like so happy to be together, same faith. And it came to me to realize that the church is not just the group that you see at Mass. I mean, you could see people from so many countries and with the same faith. It's really powerful. And to me, it's kind of strengthened my faith to see that we're not just the group in the church. The church is all over the world. And to see young people, having faith the way that you sometimes don't see out on the street is amazing to see. So it's a trip that I would recommend to anybody. I mean, I'm not a young guy, but you could probably chaperone, and be able to go and experience the World Youth Days.
Hi, so I'm Lydia, also Riverview Catholic Church. I'm the other half. So it was his third, it was my fifth. And my thought of World Youth Day, every experience is different, every one that I've experienced. But I think every time it's a little piece of heaven, really. Because that's what you would think. I mean, everyone, same faith, like he said, happy, singing. It's just joy. You don't think of all the problems of the world, all the pains of the world, all the sufferings. It's like it all goes away, at least for, that time that you're there. So it's my little piece of heaven. And just being in Fatima and standing there where she, was present to those children, and then to the Mass, the rest of the people that came and saw the miracle, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like I transported myself back to that time, and I'm like, I'm here. I'm standing where all these people stood, and there was a miracle here. Miracles.
Hi, my name is Alejandra. I'm from Resurrection Catholic Church. It was my first my first World Youth Day. I loved it. It was something like different to experience. I loved how there was like people from different places, from different countries. I loved meeting them. They were all happy to like meet new people. One moment that really stuck to me was whenever the Pope was coming. As he's coming, we thought he was coming one direction, but he went the other. But either way, I seen him and I got like the chills, like a feeling. It was something different. But yeah, I really loved it and recommend it to anybody who hasn't gone.
Hello, my name is Juan. I'm from St. Paul Catholic Church. I went there as a chaperone. This is my first trip to World Youth Day. And the moment that I remember the most is when we did the Rosary in Fatima, and afterwards we had a procession. Just to hear the chanting and all the lighting in different languages, it was a subliminal moment for me. It was so powerful, and it brought a lot of peace into my heart. And the second thing that I can relate and share with you guys is being able to see a lot of young kids, with that much passion for Christ and bringing the passion of the church, make me believe that we have hope for the future, because the kids are our future. So we need to invest, and I want to take a moment to thank you, all of those who contribute to our participation and going to this trip, and we look forward for the next one. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I am from Resurrection. My husband and I have been leaders of World Youth Day. This was my fifth and my final. We started from Madrid. In all the comments I share equally, as each World Youth Day is quite different. But this one, because it was my last, I took it more personal. And hence I did have my own personal experience. But it was definitely during the procession, the light candle procession in Fatima. But to see the people, I had never witnessed that. I hear it's quite common in South America to have people on their knees going around it was just like a pathway, and they were basically crawling on their knees and having some type of petition in their hearts, and they would carry these amulets with them. And each time they passed in front of me, it definitely was surreal, because at that moment in time I was feeling their pain, and I was just petitioning that our Mother Mary and Fatima intercession would heal and grant them that petition. Little did I know that she also granted me one of my own, and I'm thankful for that. But because World Youth Day is really World Youth, it is meant for youth for many reasons, which is why it brings me such joy to have like Alejandra and Adriana that went with us. And they had set up this little table at the vigil where they had all these, because the big part of it is interacting with youth around the world in different countries and trading trinkets. And they set up this little table, and they had all their pins and bracelets and flags and all sorts of stuff, and I actually have some of them there. But as they're interchanging, people are coming to them, and again, just hugging and sharing those smiles and that joy, and that really gives me a lot of joy.
So, hi, my name is Steven. I'm from St. Paul's, so this is my parish. I had really two moments that stuck out to me at World Youth Day. I think the first moment for me was definitely the candlelight procession, and not necessarily because of it was really beautiful and everything, but it was the fact that we got to see it 2 times, because we went the first night and the second night, and you could kind of feel that something was happening, because the first night it was busy, but the second night it was really busy. It was a lot more people, and I remember just following that cross around, and then you look up and you see all the flags of the world behind it, and everything just kind of hits oh my gosh, there's so many people, and everybody's from different places, and that was really impactful. And then I think the second moment for me was at the Vigil Mass, or the night before the Vigil Mass. It was like adoration. It was a massive monstrance, and I didn't realize until I looked through binoculars. But it was really cool, because it's kind of weird to say this, but everybody was talking during everybody else that was speaking that night. But the second the Pope came on, it just went hush. Everything just hushed at once. And it was 2 million people hushing at once. And it was the most peaceful, most like strange moment ever, and like you could feel that whatever was gonna come out of his mouth was gonna like impact you, and it really did. But that whole night was like partying and stuff for like everybody, and it was just nice. It was really peaceful and nice.
I also want to invite Keishla and Michelle up too. Come on up here. They were late arrivals, but we're glad to have them. This is nice to have a reunion here. Atta girl. Pass them one of the mics and introduce yourself, and yeah, tell us your memory.
Hi, I'm Keishla. So I work for the Office of Communications for the Diocese. So I got to go part of work, but also kind of just to see my personal experience, and it was beautiful. I remember going and I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to expect, but being able to interact with everybody from the diocese and have that community was awesome, because oftentimes we get stuck in our own little world. So meeting people from St. Paul's and from all the different parishes was amazing. But something that really stood out to me was when we were in Santorum and we got to see the Eucharistic miracle of Santorum. And I remember kind of just waiting in line and then going up the stairs and then just seeing the bloody host, and it was just like a awestruck moment, because you're like, whoa, like this is real, this is right here. And so I think that's a moment, that's how I started the trip. So it was just a moment of like, wow, we're just starting with a bang. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Michelle Messiano. I work at the Diocese for the Catholic Ministry Appeal. And there were so many things that stuck out, but I think the biggest one, so we went to mainly take photos of our group that went, because I think we had like the second largest US delegation that went. So just witnessing, I remember we had just done the stations and we had gotten into Old Fatima, and just like hearing, I think Joe, you brought out your guitar. We were just all singing in the streets. It was like the most beautiful thing. It was really surreal. So that was my favorite.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to do popcorn style, right? So I'll ask you all a question. Whoever wants to answer it, grab a mic and let's answer it. Feel free to ask each other questions. If there are questions that you all have, raise your hand. We'll listen to what your questions are as well, and best answer them the best we can. For how many of you was this your first trip to World Youth Day? Oh, okay. So majority was, yeah. Okay, so this is definitely my first World Youth Day as well. What did you discover is the difference between a vacation and a pilgrimage? Brendan's going to kick us off.
So when I got here back in May to start my job, everyone at the office said, don't even worry about World Youth Day. You're not going. You don't need to deal with it. You don't need a passport. And I was like, okay. And then 3 weeks before the trip, my executive director, Dr. Armando, in a meeting said, Brendan, we need you to get a passport and go to Portugal. And I said, what? And so somehow we got a passport in like 5 days. Didn't know that was possible. And then we flew to Portugal. I have a lot of background in missionary work and mission trips and things like that. So every time I've been out of the country has been for something like a mission trip or a pilgrimage. It has never felt like a vacation. This trip especially. But I think it helped me kind of know what I was getting into, knowing that I was going to be there just to be a line of support for our diocese, specifically our young adults. I was still figuring out this position. I feel like I understand a little bit better now, but there were definitely times when I felt like I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like I'm doing it okay. I tried very hard to keep, for the most part, a positive mindset. The walk back from the vigil kind of killed me a little bit, so I apologize to the people I walked with because I wasn't super happy or peppy. But what I like about pilgrimages and things like this, it gives you an opportunity to really offer things that you didn't know you could offer for the good of the people around you. And so just the little ways that the Lord would challenge me each day, I found myself being able to offer those for the groups that I'd walk with wherever we were going. So yeah.
Who else wants to answer that?
It really helped me be aware that whenever we go in a pilgrim, we need to be able to improvise, adapt, and succeed. No matter what, we always have to remain positive and also focus on the big picture. And having the flexibility to adapt was key.
Yeah, flexibility definitely was key. Yeah.
I think for me, the big difference between a vacation is like you go to vacation to relax, and I felt like we kicked it off with a very unrelaxing day. This is the longest day of my life.
Go ahead, explain what that means.
Oh, so we left, we got here at 7 in the morning? 7 in the morning. We did Mass, and then we hopped on a plane around 2, all the way down to Miami. And then we flew over to Portugal, which is, by the way, 5 hours ahead. So the sleeping time that you got on the plane really meant that you were just going to wake up in the morning over there, because it was like a 9-hour flight, or 8 hours, something like that. But we got there at 6 in the morning, and then hopped on a bus to Fatima, and that was like an hour-long bus. And I didn't sleep because I had Father Chuck next to me. And so there's no diss to Father Chuck. I love Father Chuck. It was just really hard to sleep. But then we got to Fatima, and they were like, you can't get your hotel till 3, and it was definitely not 3. It was like 7 or something, or 8. And so we just had to walk around Fatima for all this time. I think actually there's a picture of the St. Paul's group, because we went to our first catechesis that very same day after the Mass, and we sat in the front row mistakenly, and then Laura turned around and she looked at us and took a picture, and we were all asleep in the pew. But needless to say, it was one of the longest days ever. But it was like Juan said, you kind of learn to adapt. And just like on vacation, you relax. But like, I feel like at World Youth Day, you relaxed in a different way. Like your soul felt relaxed. Like, not your body, but like just your headspace was very relaxed.
I'm going to say something real quick as well. So I'm not exactly my first vacation. I mean, pilgrimage. It's kidding. Yeah, right. So one thing I think of is vacation, it's like every step that you take towards the beach is a step towards temporary relaxation, R&R. But one astute priest has told me, for every step that you offer to God is a step closer to heaven. Like how far it is to go to heaven, but every step that you take, that you offer to God, is a step closer to heaven.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, well, I had never been on a pilgrimage before. I don't know exactly what I expected. I was really trying to go with no expectations. And they told us we were going to do a lot of walking, and we did a lot of walking. I think I had 12 miles on my pedometer. Most days were 12 miles. You know what was totally amazing? I don't know what graces you all felt while you were on pilgrimage, but one of the graces for me was I would be totally exhausted at the end of the night, and I would think, I can't do this tomorrow. I'm just going to call it in. I'm going to just sleep. But as soon as I'd wake up in the morning, I felt re-energized, and I was amazed that, like, I just brought a pair of tennis shoes. I didn't, do anything special, but that my feet didn't hurt. I mean, that was... How many days were we over there? 10 days? 12 days? How many days were we, Brendan? 10. Yeah, 10 days? Over a week. And to be able to get up every day. But I'm also one that feeds off the energy of being around other people. So, it was definitely a grace for me. Did you all feel graces while you were? Yes? Where did you see your graces come from? I mean, we know they come from God, but what form did your graces take? Oh, see, I threw him a question. I didn't say I was going to ask them.
Well, this is kind of like a small grace, but it's not really, I don't know if you call it a grace, but I somehow made it 10 days without a little bit of coffee, just because the proportions are so different. The food proportions were big, but the coffee was they would give me this much, and they'd expect me to run a full day on that. And that just was not it. That was a grace.
That is definitely a grace, yes. Did you all feel any other graces?
In my case, I had just had a knee surgery, so about a month prior to us leaving, my husband was asking me, are you sure you're going to be able to make it? And I'm like, I don't know. This is my last one. I got to. But sure enough, like I said, that was one of the graces that Fatima gave me, allowed me to endure. And yes, by the end, you're exhausted and you wonder about the next day, but you just wake up and you keep on trucking. And I hate to say, but I think sometimes I was ahead of the pack here, right, Juan? All right. And I just kept going. I said, I got to lead them. So I just can't sit down.
I know one of the graces for all of us were to be able to be with those seminarians and the priests. Let's talk about that a little bit. What did you get out of being able to share this journey with so many religious in our community? And what a grace gift that was.
So I walked to the overnight vigil with 3 seminarians. It was Ben, Isaac, and Louis. And we're walking on the concrete and it's hot. I think it was 2 of the hottest days, the walk there and back. And just seeing them, like people were passing out in the streets and seeing them, rush over and tend to those people, that was like I've hung around the seminarians, but seeing them witness that was really beautiful. And just hearing, their stories and, just talking about life and how they got where they were, and that was amazing to hear.
Yes, what were some of your experiences with the seminarians and priests?
So one thing that I can tell you is I'm so blessed to be in the bus from here to Miami with the priests and the seminarians that we have. And you know how I'm seated in the middle of all of them, and then conversations I'm hearing is, of course, their classes, and then all of a sudden there's someone mentioned, so did you go to the pool party yesterday? Some were thinking now, maybe coming in, but not for that reason. But, just kind of getting to see their humanity as well, that it's just like you and me being able to share God's words. So that kind of just gives me another reason to discern again.
I have one, I guess. I don't know anyway, cut that part out. Anyway, kind of like what Adrian just said, at one point we're walking to the overnight vigil and someone pulls out a Frisbee and they start playing Frisbee in the middle of the road, and there's all these boys, it was they were so joyful and they were throwing around the Frisbee and da-da-da-da, and they're, playing, they're joyful, and then, the next day they're leading us in prayer, and they're coming up with activities for us to do as a community, as a diocese. So it was really kind of amazing to see them be boys, they're all young men, but also how much they're in love with the Lord and how they want to serve him so badly, and they're so I didn't see any of them upset or in a bad mood, I think, the entire time we were there. They were they were wonderful. And we had 3 really amazing priests with us too, that were great. You guys know them. You guys might not.
Well, tell them who they were. Do you remember?
I know Father Zavi is at St. Lawrence, and then Father Chuck is the vocations director for the diocese, and then Father Connor, St. Catherine's, is at St. Catherine's. Father Connor Penn.
Yeah.
St. Catherine, okay.
Yes, do you have a memory with any one of them?
Yes. At some point on the walk to the vigil, you're supposed to get this bag of food that we somehow missed. So I guess we decide, me and then some of the seminarians were we're gonna trek and we're gonna go get food for our group because we can't starve all night. And so we go, and Father Zavi came with us, and there were just multiple times throughout that. Juan came with us. He's carrying 17 bags. These are heavy bags. They were really heavy.
And how far back did you have to go?
We walked? We went 3, I think it was 6 miles total. Yeah, it was crazy, but I think that was my favorite part of our pilgrimage. I have to say, we were hot and we were tired and we saw people passing out around us, but then we would walk past these huge groups of people, singing, and they had musical instruments and they're singing and they were so joyful, and Father Zavi would always point out that he would never be if somebody was oh, we're really hot, or oh, we're really tired, he'd be yeah, but look at these people singing, aren't they awesome? And so Father Zavi was just really joyful. I think really helped us get through that journey. And we also did not know how long we were going to walk for. We just started walking and we were is this worth it? And it definitely was. Not even for the food. I don't even know if I ate any food out of that bag, but it was definitely worth it.
Just a quick note on that too. It's funny because like Father Zalvi was like in front of me, and we had this like bamboo on our shoulders, and then like just like a lot of, I think it's about four or five packs, but they're like at least maybe 50 pounds or something like that, 70 pounds each. And I was just waiting for Father Zalvi to say, oh, let's take a break. But I was like, okay, when is he gonna call break? And then it's funny because, the amazing thing is the Boy Scouts of Europe also were there, and, they actually helped us out too. So it's amazing to just kind of like see the community in it.
Let me just set the scene a little bit for you. So we keep talking about this long walk that we did. It was the last weekend that we were there. There was about an 8-mile journey. Was it 8? Am I exaggerating? They closed the interstate down so that all the pilgrims, picture 2 million pilgrims are headed out to this little island where we're going to be spending the night out there together, right? And so this is what they're talking about is when we headed out there, we didn't have food with us. They told us it would be along the way, somewhere on this 8-mile stretch. We were, they shut down the highway, so there are no cars, and this is what she's talking about. The seminarians pulled out their Frisbees and are playing in the middle of the highway, Frisbee. And then when we cross over some bridges and we finally get to the island, we realize there's no food on the island, and somebody's gonna have to walk back 3 miles to get, oh, by the way, there's 118 of us from the diocese that were walking over. So that's how many people needed to be fed, because we were there for 24 hours? 24 hours. It was one night, yeah. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner was supposed to be in that bag. And so, yes, the priests and Juan and Sophie and a small group, Adrian, they walked back to get all of us their meals, and each bag probably weighed a good 5, 6, 7 pounds. So picture that. So that's what amazed us all, was the priests and the seminarians who were willing to sacrifice after having already walked all day to get where we were in the heat, were willing to walk back and get us food to bring it back to us. Because I know I would not have been able to make it. I would not have been able to walk back to get food. So that was an amazing moment. Also, I'm going to share one of my memories of that too. As we cross the bridge and we're going into the area where we're going to sleep for the night, and it's nothing out there. It's dirt. And they have big speakers and big screens set up out there for us to see the Pope when he comes in to celebrate adoration and then Mass the next day. Adoration that night and then Mass the next day. I was struck by 2 things. One was, this must be what going into a relocation camp must feel like. All those people, not knowing what we were walking into, only being able to carry what we had on our backs, which, by the way, I don't know how you guys packed. Maybe that would be what we talk about. I have a what do you call it? A pool mattress that I thought, okay, I'll sleep on that, and a sleeping bag, and just some things I thought I would need for just one night. But we had just trekked that in. It was probably 10 pounds on my back of trying to get in there. But anyway, I was struck by, at least I kind of know what we were getting ourselves into, and I had brought some things to supply myself with. But my gosh, refugees who go into a place like that, not knowing how long they're going to stay, or even would they have what they needed on their backs. I was really struck in my heart with, wow, I've never experienced. But the other thing that was right on the heels of it was, this is heaven. Like, we're all flowing into heaven. We were all singing and dancing and just so full of joy. I just can't get over the joy that we felt. And I know Adrian brought flags from so many of the countries that we encountered, and it was peaceful. It was peaceful. I never saw a fight, never saw an argument, never saw anybody impatient with each other or arguing, nothing. It was just so much peace. So anyway, I just wanted you to understand the situation that we were walking into. That was our final weekend there. What other okay, what was my question before? With the priests and with the seminarians. Stephen, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you said you came back with a different feeling about our religious. Can you share a little bit about that?
You just got to see the more human side of them all. Just because sometimes when they're on the altar, sometimes when you serve alongside them, you kind of don't envision them as like the same or like very equal, but like kind of because I'm a college student now and they're technically also in college.
Yeah.
Like they're so similar, and it was like kind of strange at first, like because I was like these kind of like, they just don't look like priests, and then I'm like, well, they're humans too, like what am I doing? Like,
see, we're not sure if they're human or not sometimes right now. I'm just teasing. I have to poke at them. Yeah. So what was the message? Like, did you come out with a message that maybe God gave to you or that you heard? We heard so many great speakers. I mean, Pope Francis, obviously, and his message I felt was very powerful. Well, let's just start there. What did you hear some of the messages from Pope Francis being?
Personally, for me, for example, one of the key messages that I heard from Pope Francis was being able to be merciful and to always focus on helping people who are in need, no matter what. Don't look at the people from the top to the bottom unless you're willing to help them. That's one of the messages that stay with me from Pope Francis. And to me, that is a powerful message for all of us, being able to see around where you are. If there is somebody that needs help, just help them out, whatever it is, and don't think about anything else, because the blessings that come back to you when you help other people are phenomenal. You get blessed by God when you do things like that. So to me, that was the main message, trying to help everybody around you.
I think for me, like Juan said, just having hope for the future of the church. Being a young adult and being involved in young adult ministry, sometimes it gets a little rough with all the news and scandals and just difficulties that happen through the global church. And this was a true beacon of hope, to be there, to be among so many Catholics of all ages, and to see that the faith is still very much alive, that no matter what people say, that the church is dying, it's not. It's just growing, and we're on fire. And so it really is like just a sign to continue to have hope for our future, and knowing that God is in control.
This theme of World Youth Day was to go in haste, so I definitely took that to heart because I knew it was my last. So I wanted to make sure I had more youth. I was a little disheartened, but we'll leave that aside. But one of Pope Francis' messages was, La Iglesia es para todos. So the church is for everyone. Really, the meaning there is a lot of time at this point in our lives, and I'll talk about myself, we have our little cliques, we're content in our parishes, in our church, in our missions, in our circles, and we have our group of friends that are like-minded in faith. But we do need to go to the marginalized. We need to help those that are still hurting and haven't found that home in the church, because after COVID a lot of things were online, and I personally know of a lot of my own friends that have still just not come back to church. But even those, there's others that just, I don't like the message, or I don't find that home, but that's where I feel we're still called to help those. So again, the church is for everyone, but we got to make all those everyone's and bodies be in the church.
Yeah, I'd love to hear, is it Alejandra? I'm sorry, who's sitting next to you? Like, what messages did you hear at World Youth Day? What did you come away with?
I know, put you on the spot, but
I know, I totally do. This is what I do. I mean, World Youth Day, when we talk about our youth, you're who I think of.
It clicked, like it amazed me how there was like a lot of a whole bunch of people that I didn't think it was going to be so much. Like, yeah, I heard it was going to be like, oh, there's going to be like so much people, like 1 billion, like, you know, but I didn't expect it to actually be so much. But when I seen, I was just like, wow, like, that's our faith, like, that's our people, you know?
Right, right. Do you feel like you changed from this trip? Is there something different about you now than there was before?
I definitely, like, I'm an altar server, so before I used to, like, I didn't really pay attention too much as I do now in the Mass, but now I, like, you know, I actually think about, like, the readings, the, you know, everything that's going on.
And did that start for you at World Youth Day?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Excellent. I love that. I love hearing that. Who else haven't we heard from over there? Oh. How about on this side? Are you different after World Youth Day?
I think so. I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, right? Can I put you on the spot and go, how do you see yourself as, what's changed in you?
You know, it's so easy to get wrapped up in, like, you know, the day-to-day of just working and going. I think with the unknown of World Youth Day and, you know, the everyday, we didn't really know what to expect. And even stuff like this, like coming together and just talking about it, like a lot of the stories, like not that I blocked it out, but, you know, we just kept moving as soon as we got back. So, like, kind of holding on to that and really remembering everything, I think I'm doing more of that, I was staying in the present there, but also, you know, having the coming together and keeping the connections and all of that. Yeah.
You know, one of the things I loved about World Youth Day too is that continuous focus on Christ. It entered into our conversations naturally as we walked together, as we ate together. I mean, and also having that, being able to celebrate Mass every day. You know, my favorite memories are the Masses in the hotel. You know, we had bishops from around the world, or a bishop or a cardinal too, right, that celebrated Mass with us. The memory of Mass in Fatima that last day, it was so beautiful because we wanted to have an English-speaking Mass, right? And the priests just got together with the seminarians. They found a space outside under the trees along this wall, and they set up an altar right there, and we just all gathered under the trees in the morning for Eucharist, to be Eucharist, to receive Eucharist. And it was a beautiful, beautiful moment, you know, and we sang and, you know, just visiting where all of the miracles had taken place in Fatima when we went on the trip outside of the walls of the city and saw where the angel had visited the young children and, you know, all the places of importance that we went to, you know what I mean? The singing, you know, the playing of the instruments as we waited in line to see Jacinta's house and who's the other guy who... I put you right on the spot, Sophia. Come on, Sophia. Your main needs wisdom.
Keep going with your story.
But that was like so... Lucia, thank you. Francisco and Lucia. See, but all of us together, we will remember together, right? But there was such a moment of uncontrollable joy where we all got together and we were singing at the top of our voices and everybody around us gathered in and sang with us, and the next thing we know, the group behind us started singing, and then the group behind them started singing, and we would join in on their songs, and it was like, whoa, wow, why can't our everyday be like this? What if we went downtown and just started taking your mandolin and we just start singing out there? Like, how do we continue this? Why do we keep it for something just separate from our everyday lives? You know, I don't know. These are questions I think about, and I wonder, how do we share? Go ahead. Is that your phone? I'm sorry. Yeah, go. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I should. I could gush all day. What do you all want to know? I don't know that we've answered anything that did you have a question? You could just raise your hand, I'll come to you, or shout it out. Okay, so we're hitting all the spots. You're learning what you wanted to know. Yeah, there's so much more to talk about. Jonathan Rumi is my new crush. Oh, good. Sister's got a question. Thank you.
No, I thank you for sharing Pope Francis's message. I wanted to hear more about that, and several of you did mention it. I'd be very interested in hearing more about that.
Who else wants
His
to
message.
talk about Pope Francis? See, I'm already promoting him. Pope Francis's message. What else did you hear?
One of the messages that I really liked was be not afraid. I think so often in life I find myself falling in like a same cycle and being afraid of just general things, or sometimes the outside world is telling us so many different things, and he just said be not afraid, like show your faith, be proud, look at us all gathered here together. And so that's something that I've stuck, and I'm like, yeah, no, I can't be afraid to express my faith. I need to show my faith in order for others to also not be afraid. So I think definitely the be not afraid is something that really stuck with me.
So just like what Keishla said about be not afraid as well, the theme being, make haste, and that references, both of those references the Annunciation, which is where, of course, Mother Mary was told by the angel that, hey, you're gonna have a son. And then, like our normal reaction on that is, whoa, what's my future gonna look like? It's like, is it gonna be like, I'm gonna be looked at this, especially during that time when like all the people are judgmental of you, if you have like a child without a father, for example. So kind of like looking into that and just kind of like being in that Mary's fiat position, that whenever we are, like over there, just like what Laura was saying, it was amazing just being able to enjoy some time. We were singing like, let it go, let it go, let it go. We were like inside the train, or like in this, like in the train with like a lot, subway, with a lot of people who are Catholic. So it's probably good to feel that and be able to like even just sing worship songs in the subway when you're backed up with like 2 million people who are Catholic. But how about when we get home to our lives? So kind of like looking into this, how are we going to bring Jesus to others? How are we going to talk about religion we're in a public place like that, but not really, but not only the only Catholic that you know. So kind of like really headlining on that, knowing that we should be able to bring God to others, even in any situation. God is our life, that we should live, this is a lifestyle that knowing God is just not on a Sunday Mass. It's an everyday thing.
I think if we left anything in our wake, and I'm all about the word joy, right? I think it's joy we left in our wake in Portugal. If nothing else, the people that were in Lisbon saw I think the true face of Christianity, what it is. It's, it's joy. It's loving each other. It's hugging strangers in the streets. Like, I can't believe that, that people would stand there with their hands out open, and people would just grab them and hug them. And there was one memory where we were like, okay, we just had a few people. We wanted to take a picture, and we were like, hey, get in the picture. And then suddenly, like, 100 people ran in to be a part of the picture. Oh, yeah, that's us singing in the subway over there. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it just, I think that people can't help but want to know what it is you have, that you can be singing in the subway and singing in the streets and hugging and kissing people you don't even know. And I think that if we can just keep that moving forward, it's amazing, right?
Again, you do come together, so part of it's given the trinkets, but this time I wanted my youth to be able to give trinkets, so I kind of just held back and I gave them all this stuff. But when we went to the Christ Redeemer statue, we needed to hurry up and get on, I think, one of the little buses. But while we were waiting, I saw a gentleman and I carry a lot of USA patriotic type of little pins. So I gave the gentleman one, a quite older man, and then he was like, wait, so language doesn't even matter. I I know Spanish, so it was enough for me to understand Portuguese. But he was like, he wanted to give me something, and the rest of the group was, come on, Sandra. And I'm like, I can't leave this man. He's digging in his bag. He really wants to give me something. And I actually have it with me. He was a scout. He was a Boy Scout in the past, and he had a little patch that says the Boy Scouts and in Portugal. So it's just like, they want to give you something so bad.
We would always have our flag. I wish Melissa was here. She was going to bring the, oh, Melissa is here. Yes.
Here's the
Melissa,
official flag.
Get over here. So she had the flag. And first of all, I didn't realize how important a flag is and when you're amongst 2 million people. Because otherwise you don't know who your people are that you're trying to follow. And you still lose the flag. Yes, bring it up here, Melissa. We'll spread it out and we'll get another picture before everybody leaves. But we had an American flag and we would hold it up and people would crowd around us wanting pictures with us as Americans. I don't know, in this day and age, that surprised me how very much, they wanted to be seen and take pictures of us. So that's the flag we followed while we were in Lisbon and trying to find our way amongst all the crowds to wherever we were supposed to be. And do you remember the chant when every time the Pope would show up? Do you remember? Esta es la juventud del Papa. Esta es la juventud del Papa. It means we are the youth of the Pope, and that was awesome. Yes, do you have a question? Yes, every language, the Pope speaks every language but English.
Yes, okay, so my question was, did they have translation on a board or something?
So, on like our little packing list we got from the diocese, which was quite helpful, thank you diocese, it had us like, bring, or like someone in your group bring like an AM FM radio, and they had people from like all the volunteers that were helping with World Youth Day, which were a ton from, I know some from Spain, a lot from Lisbon, college students, everybody. And they would have volunteers and there would be different radio stations that you could tune into, or like you could get an app on your phone, like a radio station, and they would translate everything the Pope was saying as he's saying it. So during our opening Mass, I think we had one up, but also not the opening. What was the next day when we were on the side?
Oh, well, it was the Stations of the Cross.
Yes, I just vividly remember it because it took us a long time to find the station, and we were really worried we were going to miss what the Pope was saying, but, the Lord came through, and like right in time we...
The Pope's entrance to Lisbon.
Yes, it was like his welcoming ceremony. It was like the...
Oh my goodness, I remember that.
Yes. Anyway, so they were, and I only listened in English, but I'm sure they had a ton of different languages, because I think he was speaking Portuguese most of the time.
Well, no, he spoke, so for the most time he spoke Spanish, or actually all of the time he spoke Spanish. But I know what a lot of people, or what I ended up doing was I would grab a group of people and then I would translate for them. And that's what actually ended up happening too, because we had a large Hispanic community that went with us. So they would grab a group of people and they would translate directly, because sometimes the translation over the radio wasn't so good, or it was like really delayed.
Or like 30 people trying to be around.
Yeah, all over one. And so we did that, or even that actually, now you reminded me of like that specific day. There was a group of like Spanish people, like people from Spain, that spoke a little bit of English, and they were trying to translate like the little bit of English that they knew to like these German people next to them, even though the German people spoke limited English too. And I was like, this is really interesting. But just everybody would try to translate what they could or understand what they could and try to pass it on, because it was like the Pope is speaking. Everybody should be able to listen in your own and understand by yourself.
To clarify on that, they on a very weak FM signal, they sent out about 6 to 7 translators. So it was about the 6-ish, 7-ish main languages, such as Spanish, English, and so forth. And then they had translators in another room listening to the broadcast and then broadcasting it again, translating again on over radio.
I was so impressed with the planning that must have gone on for World Youth Day. I mean, again, to be able to give Eucharist to all of those people was mind-blowing. But just the logistics, I thought, were handled so very well. So do you know where the next World Youth Day is? Korea. So we're going to start learning our Korean now. We're going to start with the alphabet. Yes, I'm already on Duolingo trying to figure that out. So 4 more years, we're going back to the next World Youth Day. God bless my feet. Make sure they stay attached till then. I also want to take the opportunity to say thank you to so many people here. For me, I've never been to World Youth Day. It was quite a big expense to go to World Youth Day. And Lincoln, where are you? Oh, there's Lincoln. So Lincoln was my first person who got me thinking about, how are we going to fundraise for a World Youth Day? Lincoln owns Island Fin Pokey. Did I say that right this time? Right across the street. And he's like, hey, we could start selling Dole Whips, and we could start doing these little cards. And so I brought a few examples up here. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Yes, we'll start with that. And then we had generous people like John and Tina over there who too wanted to see this come to fruition and said, well, let us sponsor some of your students going to World Youth Day. So they were very generous in helping us out. And I want to say thank you to them as well. We had Hank's Barbecue, the owners of Hank's Barbecue. Oh my gosh, his name just slipped my mind. He was also very generous in helping by making donations and also gave us some seed money to do other fundraising for these little cards that we were doing. So many of you contributed, in a lot of different ways. Oh, I want to make sure to recognize Juan and Miriam. One of the ways we earned money, which was actually a huge way we earned money, was to work the Amalie Arena, which is no easy task, and also the baseball games for the Yankee Stadium. So Juan and Marion were pivotal in making sure we had a team out there from St. Paul's so that we could work together, make sure our youth had somebody out there that knew what we were doing and could help communicate with our groups. So that was really great. I really appreciate that help. And also having Father Morley step in, he took over the parish about a year and a half almost. Up to the point of Father Morley coming in, we weren't planning on going to World Youth Day. We didn't have that opportunity. So Father Morley, when I asked him, I'm like, I really want to go to World Youth Day. He's like, good, go. And I appreciate that. And not only that, but he supported us every step of the way. Every time we wanted to do a fundraiser, every time we brought everybody together. So it takes a village, you all, to get to World Youth Day. So I'm going to plant the seed now. We are going to go back to World Youth Day in 4 years. So some of you who are really little right now, will be old enough, maybe, yeah, right, good girl, all right, will be going with us to South Korea. All I gotta say is start walking now, girlfriend. You're gonna be able to do 10 miles, that's it. But yeah, we want all of you to join us. It's an amazing opportunity. I'm always amazed. Juan, don't take this the wrong way, but Juan is so full of energy and carrying all those bags. And so all I'm saying, and again, Juan, don't take offense, is it's World Youth Day. It's only how young you are right here in your heart. And that goes for me too. I think we're pretty close in age. So, as long as you're still young at heart, you're going to be a part of this with us. So, I'd like us to
Before you finish, I would like to say something though.
Go for it.
Laura. I mean, for the parents who are here, I've been assisting Laura in quite a few events. But when I saw Laura in Portugal and managing and handling the different situations that we had to endure, and also enabling and facilitating, I want to tell all the parents, feel confident that nobody is going to be left behind. She was like a hawk, always checking where's everybody. I need everybody making sure the count is right, making sure everybody is where it's supposed to be. So have a high confidence that she did a remarkable job of coordinating, watching all the kids, and adopting other kids like Adrian. So when somebody was there, I was fully surprised. So definite, she has my 100% confidence vote that if you guys send your kids or youngsters the next go around, feel confident that they will be well protected, well taken care of it, and nobody's going to be left behind or not being attended for.
Hey.
I mean, I'm telling you, and I admire you. You have
Thank
a
you.
lot of energy.
All right, the Mutual Admiration Society has now opened for
That
business.
was not a mucho, but
I'm
needed
gonna,
to say.
I'll say it again. It's a village. It takes a village, and we're part of a good village. We're part of a good village. We watched out for each other. Everybody had their strengths, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, Juan. That was really kind.
Oh yeah, let me hop on that.
No. I thought you were going to say something else. You're
I am. No, I'm gonna hop on that real quick. Just like while we're at St. Paul's, St. Paul's was really well represented at World Youth Day. Like the diocese was as a whole. Like we had a really amazing group go, but the St. Paul's group, like honestly, were so welcoming to every single person there. Like they'd just be like, hey, you want to walk with us? Sure, I'll walk with you. Like, they were so welcoming, every single person in the group. And, like, I don't know how well they all know each other, but it seemed like they were a family. And, like, it really did, like, they made me feel like, oh, like, St. Paul's is a place, like, a parish I want to be at. Like, so, like, I just want you all to know who are parishioners here. Like, you guys are super well represented. You had an amazing group of people go. If you want to go with a parish and you go here, this is a great parish to go with. Obviously, Resurrection's also a great parish to go with. So, but I do have to say, like, we had a good time with St. Paul's. And thank you for letting us come here and relive our experience, because this is fun. Yes. Let's do this every month.
Yes, I think we should do this more. And I think we need to, like, go to everybody's churches and, like, do this. I think we need to spread the word about how amazing. Yes? Yes.
First of all, I am old now, and I don't have any kids in school, so I'm kind of excluded from a lot of things. And I want to thank you all, your youth and the chaperones, for bringing this joy to me. And it sounds to me like, just from one of the other ladies that said something about, it just blows my mind to think that you all went with, I don't know how many different nationalities, etc., and yet you communicated so beautifully without a language, which brings tears to my eyes, but it gives me so much hope and inspiration thanks to you, because to me, you are all hope and inspiration. And it also confirmed that because we're in one parish out of how many millions, that we kind of lose sight of the numbers. And it did look like the Catholic Church was dwindling and there were less caring spirits. But this brought back joy, and that's the theme, joy. It brought back joy and hope, and just reassurance that we're here forever. Because of God and keeping Him as our center, we will never need for anything else, no matter what kind of obstacles we encounter. But I just want to say that I only wish that there was some way to transfer this into our government, so to let them know that there is a connection. We all are here for the same reason. We don't need languages or events or any other things to tell us. Just give each other a chance to be there and share.
Yes, thanks, MJ. Yes. So I don't want to make anybody late for Mass. Let's close out with a Glory Be, and then anybody who can stay, if you've already been to Mass, please stay and talk. Oh, what? Yes. Yes, I am going to give something. But glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Right.